Hi there, welcome back to Look Who's Cooking. I'm Pat Bebo.
And I'm Chef Bill Walker.
And today we're going to be cooking an egg dish for you.
Yeah, we're making a crustless quiche. It's a real easy dish, and I think quiche is one of those dishes that a lot of people think it's the kind of thing I could never make at home. Right. And we're going to show you it's real simple, and we're going to show you even if you wanted to take even an extra shortcut to make it even simpler.
That's great. And just so you know, last week's recipe and this week's recipe, we didn't have to buy any additional food out of our original pantry. So this cost us nothing. We can do it in a shot. It'll take a few minutes to do, and you'll have a complete meal. And
it's all the same stuff that we've had, and we're just now we're clearing out our pantry a little bit too.
So you have to remember to go back into that pantry and make a list of those things that you've used and you need to replenish.
Right. We're also going to be doing some broccoli spears today, some steamed broccoli. We're going to show you a real easy way to steam at home, a nice healthy way of cooking. And we're also going to do like a nice healthy dessert. We'll do some strawberries with yogurt.
And if you think about it, that's going to cover all of our food groups that we've been talking about. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the last food group on my pyramid, which is the meats, beans, nuts, and seeds. Good protein sources.
All right,
so
excellent.
Let's go.
All right, so for our crustless quiche, we're going to start with some eggs. This recipe calls for 4 eggs. And if you remember, just like last week, or whenever the last time we cracked eggs here, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we're doing each one individually, just in case there's a blood spot or a wacky bad egg or anything in there that we don't want. We don't contaminate the whole batch because, face it,
a bad egg is a bad egg.
But also, they're expensive, and you don't want to ruin your whole batch. And I don't never ever keep more than a dozen eggs laying around at home. So if you go through 4 and you waste them, that's not going to be a good situation. And
you know, we could have made this recipe with egg substitute, and if that's your choice, you certainly can. The recipe does allow for that. But we went with eggs because you get a dozen eggs, and you can make multiple recipes with that dozen eggs, and they're in your refrigerator ready to go. A lot cheaper that way, too.
Right. If you can use egg substitute, you'd measure out 1 cup, which is 8 ounces. And these 4 eggs together should be right about the same amount, the same fluid volume.
Right.
So we're going to mix up our eggs, and now we're going to add a couple of other ingredients. I just want to make sure at least my yolks are busted up before I start adding my ingredients so I can kind of sort of evenly blend the spices in there. The protein, which is the egg white, is really what's going to hang on to the stuff. The other, the yolk is all the fat and the flavor and the delicious stuff, but the protein kind of is going to create this net when it cooks. So we want to make sure that we kind of have a little bit busted up before we put our spices and stuff in there. The recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, and that's a very, very small amount. 1/4 teaspoon is 2 pinches.
Is that open?
Yeah, it's 2 pinches. And the idea is in this dish, it's going to add to the browning. It's going to make the top brown a little bit. Caramelization is kind of what we're shooting for. So we want...
So we're not going for a sweet...
It's very,
this isn't sweetness.
Very tiny amount of sugar. This is going to make 4 portions of quiche. So each portion will have 1/16 teaspoon of sugar. It's a very, very minimal amount. Yeah.
It's only for the browning capacity. The other thing about eggs is it's a great protein source. It's a complete protein source. And so, again, they are filling. They go a long way. They're quick to cook with, and you can really make an economical meal for your family.
And there's a million different things you can do with eggs, too. I mean, every culture kind of has its own version of it. You can make a frittata if you have leftover, like pasta and vegetables. You can make a...
That's another good thing, Bill. Leftovers. You can throw anything into a quiche.
Yep. This week at the restaurant, we're doing pork fried rice. We're just using some of the eggs. That's part of the whole thing. Absolutely. So this called for an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. We did a 1/16 teaspoon of red pepper and a 1/16 teaspoon of paprika. That's our substitute that we were going to use. Cayenne pepper is great. It's a little spicier. It has a little bit more of a smoky flavor to it. So that's kind of what we're going to use the paprika, kind of give it that smoky flavor. And last but not least, we're going to be adding some evaporated non-fat milk. We're using skim evaporated, so it's more dense.
Right.
1 cup, right? Is it 1 cup?
1 cup.
1 cup, which is 8 ounces. This can is 12 ounces. So I'm just going to pour off 1 cup. And, whoa, that's going to be a pretty full batch right there.
You need a bigger bowl?
I'll be okay.
Okay.
I'm living dangerously.
He'll be okay.
And then the other 2 things that we'll mix in once it's in there are going to be some diced onions and some Swiss cheese. I'm going to try as gently as I can without making a mess to stir this up. I'm glad I broke up all the yolks beforehand.
The other thing is you don't need a whole lot of utensils to do this. You don't need a whole lot of pots and pans. This is simple
regular old
from the
soup bowl, fork, regular casserole dish. Ours is a glass casserole dish. Doesn't have to be non-stick. if you can, and what I was talking about before was there's a way to take even an extra sort of faster step on this, and that is we can make this in the microwave.
That's right.
So if you do this in the microwave, you're going to want to use a casserole dish like this. You don't want to use a non-stick. You can't have anything metal. So it's got to be glass or ceramic or Pyrex
Sparks.
or whatever. Yeah, sparks in our microwave are not what we're shooting for. We're going to be using some onion, 1/4 of 1 cup of shredded onion. Shredded? No, chopped. I'm sorry. That's shredded Swiss. So I'm going to do 1/4 cup, which is about 1/4 of an onion. So I had a half an onion. I have 1/4. I did my little things where I cut my lines from the North Pole to the South Pole instead of across the equator. And now I'm going to go across that way so I can kind of get it real small. Nobody wants a big giant hunk of onion in their mouth while they're eating their quiche. But the onion's going to provide a little bit of fiber. It's going to provide a little bit of sugar, which we love.
Sweetness.
Some sweetness and crunch. And that's the big thing in here is we want some texture. So the onions provide that crunch when you bite into it. There's going to be cheese and eggs, have that nice soft texture, and we want something that's going to give it a little bit of texture.
And you can think of your quiche too as an opportunity. It's almost like an artistic palette. You can put colors in there: red peppers, green peppers. You can do so many things.
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
Yeah,
anything left over.
Anything left over is great in a quiche. Yeah, absolutely. So, ooh, I didn't do such a good job making that stuff right there bite size. I'm doing a do-over. All right.
Do-overs are allowed.
Okay, and it was how much cheese? 1 cup shredded cheese. We didn't have shredded. We had sliced cheese, so I just chopped it up. And that's, if you don't have, you improvise a little bit. Right. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. 1 cup of cheddar cheese. So let me use my cup measure again one more time here.
And this is a reduced fat cheddar cheese.
Yeah.
So we're really limiting, even though we use the whole eggs, which are a little bit higher in fat, we limited the other areas that you might get some fat in the recipe. So we really are balancing it out. It's a healthier dish that way.
Right. And if you think of it by the portion, each guest is eating 1 egg and 1/4 of a cup of reduced fat cheese. That's a fairly healthy solution. And the evaporated skim milk. So I'm giving it one more good stir. I want to make sure that the cheese is evenly dispersed. What you want is so everyone gets a little cheese in every bite, a little onion in every bite, a little bit of spice in every bite.
A little prize in every bite.
A little prize in every bite. It's like a Cracker Jack box. And it's that simple. Yep. This is going to go in our oven, 375-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. If you're going to do this in the microwave, you'd want to set your microwave for about 3/4, 75%. And it's about 12 to 14 minutes. And when it comes out of the microwave, it actually looks surprisingly good. It's nice and puffy and light and airy and looks kind of cool. So we're going to use the oven here. So let me put this into our oven. And in the meantime, we're going to do some broccoli, and we're going to do some yogurt. I'm going to show you a real simple way to steam the broccoli.
Okay, good.
And what we did was, we're using frozen broccoli. If we're using fresh broccoli, we'd want to probably boil it. And we boil it real quick. 45 seconds to a minute in boiling water is great. But for frozen broccoli, it's already been cooked a little bit. So we're going to steam it. So it doesn't come in direct contact with the boiling water, so it'll be a little less cooked. As vegetables cook, they turn a grayer color. Green vegetables do. There's a
acid.
Thank you. There's a
it's an acid.
It's a sulfur-based acid that's trapped between the skin and the meat of any green vegetable.
Too much
and as it gets hot, it gets trapped under the skin, and that's what makes your vegetables turn gray. And that's not what we want. We want nice, fresh, really beautiful-looking green vegetables. So what I did was, this is a real simple way of doing it.
Look what he did.
We took a pot. We put about 1 inch of water on the bottom of it.
Do you need more water?
Nope. We still have about 1 inch of water on the bottom of it. And now we put a bowl, a regular soup bowl like the one we mix the eggs up in. And we're going to take our frozen broccoli and put it in there, right in the bowl. And we're going to season it. So we're going to put just a little bit of salt and pepper in there.
So you have an instant steamer.
Instant steamer. And then I'm going to put this on full blast. So, we'll have 212-degree steam trapped. And because the lid will be on here, it'll circulate real well. And as long as your food isn't piled too much, that's an important piece of steaming, is that everything kind of, you can't have stuff piled on top of each other, or the stuff on the bottom won't get in contact with the steam. And we'll put that on. And we're going to put this on to like medium-high. And in about 5 minutes or so, we're going to have beautiful, fresh steamed
ready to go.
broccoli. Well, frozen steamed broccoli.
But it's good. It's a good way to get your vegetables in when things are not in season. When things are in season, you should definitely buy them in season and get them fresh. They'll taste better, and you'll know that you'll get them at the peak of freshness. So if you have any questions, I just want to remind you that we do have an email. It's lookWho'sCooking@fredtv.us. So write us your questions. We'd be happy to answer them. Anything you've seen in our shows, we'd be happy to talk about.
Fantastic. And also just wanted to mention that where we're doing all this is lovely. Dartmouth Building Supply. And they've been really super nice to us here. And I love this kitchen. And I want this Thermador stove for my house because it's really awesome. It has the extra low
Although
feature.
any stove will work.
Any stove will work. But this is a really wonderful place to work. We've been having a good time.
So today's portion of Look Who's Cooking is talking about the meats, beans, nuts, and seeds part of the My Pyramid. Now this part of the food group is really important because it provides us with protein. Protein is really essential for our bodies because it not only helps with our muscles in building muscles, but it also helps with repairing our body's tissues.
Great point, Sarah. So where can we find protein? Well, we can find protein from animals such as chicken, fish, even eggs, as was mentioned before in the show. Or you can find things in non-animal sources like nuts, like peanuts and cashews, or beans, like your regular black beans or fava beans. And those are also really good because you can get fiber from the beans, which help with our digestion, or from the nuts and seeds you can get great healthy oils, which you can just snack on the go.
So what Casey was talking about is that you don't necessarily have to go for the meat or the chicken or beef. There's so many other sources of protein that you could choose from. Now, what's really important to know is that we don't necessarily need a lot of protein in our diets. All we need is just the size of this deck of cards. That's all we need. We don't need 16 ounces, 20 ounces of a steak. All we need is just this size. And part of a regular, well-balanced diet, which includes the grains, the dairy, the fruits, vegetables, and some oils, will give you all the nutrients that your body needs.
All right, well, we're back. We just took the quiche out of the oven.
Looks great.
And we're going to let that cool for just a couple of minutes. And while we do that, we're going to get the dessert together.
Okay.
And then hopefully we get everything out. The broccoli will be hot. The quiche will be right at the right temperature.
I'll get some plates. You can
yep, we're going to be doing real simple dessert. Nice, good for you, healthy, low fat. We've got some low fat plain yogurt. And we're going to just do a couple of good scoops of it. And I'm going to use a little ice cream scooper so I can make some little circles around, make it look pretty, but you could just as easily, on the second one, I'll use a big spoon. You could just spoon a big hunk of it out there, however you like it. And kind of scoop it on the back side of the spoon so it's a little bit more even. And then we got strawberries. And these were frozen strawberries because right now it's the fall and the strawberries aren't as in season. They're real expensive and they come from real far away. And you can get frozen strawberries that were picked at their peak of freshness.
They're ready to go.
Beautiful this summer. This past August we had wonderful, beautiful strawberries, right? And so we're going to take some frozen strawberries. Strawberries are a really excellent source of fiber, antioxidants,
vitamin C.
Vitamin C, and they're delicious. They're just one of my favorite things. I just love
they're
berries.
very simple. You don't want to have any sugar, sauces on them, things like that. You just want them in their pure natural state. And they will taste like, not quite like they were just picked, but it's a great alternative to the fresh fruits when they're not in season.
And if you throw this whole thing into a blender with some apple juice, you got a strawberry smoothie.
Strawberry smoothie. It's a great idea.
So, again, it's all sort of the same ingredients, just rearranged to make a couple of different dishes. And I would never let that beautiful strawberry juice go to waste, so I'm just going to...
Of course you would.
No, it's delicious. It's like sauce. All right, and if this were the spring and mint were in season, that would be a nice little garnish for there, a little bit of fresh mint.
A little green.
This time of year, maybe a slice of orange, something like that. Be a nice little garnish for that.
Nice idea. Or you could get a little bit of granola and put that on there. So we have a lot going on in this meal that can be really healthy for the whole family.
And the other thing that the granola would do would add, once again, like some nice
texture.
Texture, yeah, like texture to your dish.
Lots of flavor.
So my broccoli is beautiful in here. I'm going to take the whole bowl out. I'm going to use a pair of tongs, and I'm going to set it right there. Done with this pot. And I'm going to portion just a little bit out for each plate. So 3 nice big spears. That's probably 2 portions of your vegetables for the day right there. 2 servings, that's what they call it, not portions, right? In the restaurant, they're portions. In your world, they're servings.
Whatever, it's good. 2 is good.
And,
3 would even be better, but that's fine.
And that looks great. And we got a little bit of height to our plate.
Getting a little piece of quiche out of it.
I know everybody loves to throw like a big hunk of butter on there or olive oil or something. I just don't think it's really necessary. I just kind of love it all on its own.
Bill started with salt and pepper, seasoning it when he put it into the steamer, and that should be enough.
That should be good. And that's coming out actually nice and easy. Didn't stick, didn't burn. That looks beautiful. There's our quiche. There's our broccoli. We got our strawberries with yogurt and whole wheat bread.
Whole wheat roll?
Whole wheat bread. Whole wheat roll, I'm sorry, yeah. Okay.
Whatever you say.
Whole wheat roll, we're going to split that, and that's 2 servings of whole grains.
Right. So we really have a complete My Pyramid meal here. And you have a lot of nutrients going on. Again, it's cheap, it's simple, it's quick, and you have your meal for the evening for the family.
And a little bit of leftover for tomorrow for lunch.
That's right. Okay.
All right, so this is kind of a neat little fold. This is kind of what we think of as a throwaway. This is our bread basket fold. When you look inside the bread, we got this neat little sort of package for it, and it's simple. Okay, so we fold it in half and then half, so in fourths, I guess you would say, twice. I'm going to kind of stretch this one back a tiny bit. Then very gently flip it over, fold it in thirds, and put it into your basket. Oops. And there you go. So you open it up, you put your bread inside there, and close it back up, and it's sort of a neat little way of serving bread. It's got its own little sort of personalized wrapper. All right, so today we've got our meal ready. We got our beautiful quiche,
Looks
our
great.
broccoli, whole wheat bread, whole wheat roll, and yogurt with strawberries.
Yep.
So today we were talking about which part of the food pyramid?
The meats, beans, nuts, and seeds, which is your protein sources. And this is a complete meal. We can call this our My Pyramid meal because we have all the groups recognized from My Pyramid in this meal. It's a really nice looking, healthy meal that it was put together in a snap.
25 minutes?
Yeah, it was really
pretty quick.
simple. You could use the microwave, you could use the oven, whatever is available to you. So
Yeah, I didn't mention that. You could also have steamed the broccoli in the microwave if you have to.
that's true.
Just a reminder, we have an email address for all your questions. We're at lookwhoscooking@fredtv.us.
That's right.
And
next week?
Yeah, next week.
Next week is Bill's show.
Right, we're going to be talking about fast food. We're going to show you kind of some of the typical fast food meals, and we're going to kind of show you how to do them a little bit better, a little healthier, a little fresher, a little cheaper, and definitely
for the kids.
better for you, better for your kids.
And
we're going to have a special guest with us next week.
It'll
too.
save on the pocketbook too because you'll be doing it at home. You'll know your ingredients. So stay tuned.
All right, let's eat.
See you then. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. You sound so surprised. So thanks for watching this week's episode of Look Who's Cooking. The winner of this week's food basket is Elizabeth Dennehy. Elizabeth, you can contact Julie Kelly at the phone number right here to arrange for a time to pick up your basket at City Hall. Also to our viewers, Look Who's Cooking recipes are available online at www.fredtv.us. They're also available at the Stop and Shop on Rodman Street in Fall River. Feel free to email us with your comments or questions, and maybe you could be next week's winner of a food basket provided by Stop and Shop. Thanks. See you next week.